Hello. You have a new face if you are a watcher. You will have a new voice if you are a listener. Please welcome Tara from Part Misery. Yay!
Hello.
If I was more
Yes.
fancy, I
For
would have a soundboard and we would have applause, but we don't have none of
I
that.
always think about buying that, and then I'm like, I'm not consistent enough to like invest in things. Like I heard people were like,
Mm.
I want to get a Port Misery shirt. I'm like, do you? Because I could disappear in like a month, just be gone for
I
like
would
seven
still
months.
I would still wear a Port Misery shirt even if you disappeared. Throwbacks, you know what I mean? And the
Mhm.
logo is on point and looks really good on black.
I'm very proud of my logo. It's my like the most proud I am of the whole show, to be honest.
Now I'm like, Dom, you be wearing our logo, our shirt, because we gave one to Dom. What you
hmm
doing? No, did we give him a shirt or we give him a cup?
You gave him a shirt, and then we gave him a cup.
Dom, you better be drinking out of our cup.
Exactly.
Um, anyhow, send healing energy to Tanya. She has a cold. Hopefully, it'll be gone tomorrow. But Tara was so generous with her time and said that she would step in. So, y'all know it's gonna be a little chaotic.
Mm.
But we appreciate it. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, tell a friend. I will link all things Port Misery because I know that y'all are listening to her. And if you're not, please do. And then shout out to somebody who left in our comments. It was so sweet. I guess they normally listen, but Tanya had like crocheted something. And I was like, if you're just listening, you gotta come and look at what Tanya did. And they did, and they left a message. So thank y'all for that. We just really appreciate you. So shout out to you. And also you can buy us a coffee. Y'all buying us coffee so consistently and so sweetly. I actually was able to go see Stone Cold and the Jackal because I'm still in Wisconsin and it's freezing. And it was cold the day I went. So when
Mm.
we do some free for all hot takes, I'll tell y'all a little bit about that. It wasn't a whole lot of tea, just because it was really more of like a variety show. Was not expecting that. So all of that. Tara, how are you doing? How are things?
I'm good. I'm busy. It's the last week of the quarter, and my grades are due on Wednesday, and I'm teaching this senior seminar with like they're history majors, but they're all about to graduate, and so they're just over it. They're just
Hmm.
over it. And then and so trying to like drag them across the finish line and then also getting the weird like flashbacks of me and like what I did when I was like an undergrad history student and trying to have them not do it, but they won't stop. Like one of the big things, it's so nerdy. Um, when you're writing primary research, like they should be your ideas, right? Like you should
Right.
just look at the primary sources, make an assumption and kind of run with it. And like the best students I have in my class are like hiding behind the experts. They're like, well,
Yeah.
Angela Davis said, and listen, Angela is a queen and we love everything she has to say. I've already heard what she has to say. I want to know what you have to say. And so trying to get them to do that. But besides that, it's me trying to finish up my own work. And so I've
Yeah.
just been busy and then trying to find time to record Port Misery. And then even with all that, I was like, Tracy wants me to record Sunday shift. Yeah, I'll just go do that. Haven't even started Port Misery. It is gonna come out at some point tonight because I'm on chaos mode, but I was just like, I started to be like, well, and then I was like, sure.
And I was like, me, you can say no. I was like, please, in my head,
I
please don't say no. Um, I'm a mess. Yeah, I mean, I was in Austin this week. Um, Again, top worst airport I've ever been to in my whole life. Just a terrible airport. I have clear and pre-check, and I was still in the TSA line for like 45 minutes. What are we doing
Stop
during
going to
the week?
Texas.
What are we like? Oh my goodness. Um, but yeah, did some really good work, got some good work done. Was in a room proving how smart I was to people. So that always feels good. Um,
I
and
love
then
to.
yeah, I'm pretty much done with work for the rest of the year. Wednesday. I do go get my COVID booster on Tuesday, so hopefully it don't take me out.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that until after the grades are in. Can't
Hmm.
risk it.
I was supposed to be done actually on Monday, and then somebody like rescheduled with me that I couldn't, it was like the last, I was like, okay. So I couldn't reschedule the shot. People be acting like it ain't COVID out here, so
And
I'm
plus
not
I
acting that
double it
way.
up. I get COVID and the flu, and so it's
Hmm.
like a double, you never know what's gonna happen.
Whammy.
Sometimes they cancel each other out and they start fighting each other and I'm fine. And then sometimes I'm just comatose for 2 days and my arm hurts.
Eesh. Yeah. Not looking forward to that, but am looking forward to trying to be a little healthier because I'm on my emergency. I'm working out every day. I'm like really just trying to be on this health kick. So we will see what happens. Let's hop into the week of the show. We have like some topics, but I was thinking about the former of the week because I know that Tanya always gives out like a bunch. I For me it was kind of the ensemble. I loved Nancy Lee Grahn as Alexis this week because she was me looking at Willow like, girl, what is this? I loved Brooklyn finally getting her husband together. And Amanda does that so well. I actually wish that they gave Amanda a little bit more because I think I've just have been going on this rabbit hole of old GH clips, and they come up no rhyme or reason. So it's like some stuff from 2007, and then something from last year, and I just go with it. Like I just follow the algorithm and let it rock. And it was like some stuff from when Amanda first came on and, just like being chaotic Brooklyn. And I love her growth as a character, but also I'm like, let's give some chaos back to our girl. So really, really loved Amanda this week. And, you know, as we talk about every week, Rory Gibson really brought out his Dark Michael. And I said, I think Rory's handsome. He's just not my type. But this week I said, huh, okay, Dr. Michael, I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, I mean, my performer of the week's gonna be Michael begging in Nina's office. Because why he even do that? Like, why did you even do that? So disrespectful. I mean, keep doing it some more. Like, you could have had sex with her anywhere. He has an
Anywhere.
office. He has offices at the Metro Court.
You're
Because
in a hotel.
he talked about Drew's office that Nina banged him in. That's Michael's office now. And like you said,
No,
this is Mama's hotel. Like he could have banged her anywhere, and he said, "I'm gonna bang her on Nina's desk."
maximum disrespect.
And then not even
No
give a
notes.
shit.
No
And I
notes.
like random sex worker Jacinda clapping back. Like she got her little pretty woman energy happening. Like, oh, don't you drug Congress people? Why you getting so judgmental? Right? Let her know. Like, why are
Listen,
you clutching your pearls? You
you
hire
know I
sex
have nothing for
workers.
Nina. You know I have nothing for Nina. So get her just said this. Get her again for me.
Hmm.
Well, let's actually hop into the never-ending Who Shot Drew story. My God, it just it's like if you anybody watches The Office, it reminds me of when Michael Scott was like snip snap snip snap. That's how I feel about this story. What's happening? I'm ready for it to be done.
They're still doing Mr. X. It's December. Like I brought this up
Middle
last week
of
on
December.
Yeah, it's the middle of December. We're still doing Mr. X. Like we're still introducing suspects. We're still like, if we're doing that, then like when does Alexis become a suspect? Because her alibi is straight false. It's a lie.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, she said
Well, it's
that
a
she
lie.
was
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah. You're right.
Christina. I mean, like, I guess the show is going back and retroactively saying, like, well, she was down with Rick, and that's why they have to be her
Right.
alibi. But it also could be that she just swung by Drew's house and shot his ass. Like, she's one of 18 people who were down to clown. And, like, if you're gonna do misdirects, they should be done fairly quickly after the fact. They've let it rock this entire time that it's either Michael or Willow. There was like a one moment where Anna was like, maybe it's Carly, but that was mostly because she was hating on Pikeman.
Yeah,
Like no one ever entertained that. It was just her weird, I hate Brennan and I think he's a liar, so let me pin this murder on Carly. It's not even a murder. That's the problem. It's not a murder
right.
at this. And so yeah, it's too long. It's too long. And making it, and this is all just to like talk about Portia's uterus.
Yeah,
That's what this whole
it's
storyline exists for.
it's bad. So we do start the week with Curtis being arrested, like he's in jail, whatever. Then they have Jordan come down to like sign something, and she's like giving an attitude to Nathan. I'm like, listen, I know Nathan is AI, but at the same time, like he seems to be the only person who's doing any work around here.
Hmm.
Like Anna had her murder board. She went missing. We'll talk about it. But then everybody else was just, playing around. Dante chasing behind Michael and his sex worker alibi. Like Chase doing everything off the clock, nothing on the clock.
Yeah, Chase working for the
Nobody's doing
defense.
nobody doing police work but Nathan.
Yeah. He's lead detective now, and like we see why he has to be
Right. So,
because
I was just, I was like, Jordan, what's the attitude? I've had a really tough time with Jordan. I'm team Portia over here. I support Portia's rights and wrongs, but fortunately for me, Portia ain't been wrong. So whatever. But just like the decisions and the writing for Jordan are really unfortunate because I feel like she was more of like a hero character or at the very least neutral, and then they just like created I don't know what they're creating to like tell this story that centers Curtis that essentially makes every woman around him except for Aunt Stella look bad.
and it makes Curtis look bad. Like
Yeah,
they think that this emotional affair they've been having for years is cute, and
right.
it's not cute. And like Curtis insisting that he didn't cheat on Portia when you have
Yes, you
this
did.
woman like visiting you in jail, like you were making out with her at Thanksgiving, you are not divorced. Like,
It's also like you cannot tell me, oh, I didn't cheat when this woman has been on the line of your marriage the whole time.
yeah,
And for me, I mean, again, I speak my bias as I have a Portia bias, but I do find it's a difference between Portia coming in the middle of Jordan and Curtis's marriage versus what Jordan did, because Portia was not her friend. Portia was not in her life. Portia didn't. Curtis is the person who owes people, to be clear, but Jordan was at their house. Jordan was talking to their family. Jordan kept inserting herself around as if I am a trustworthy family friend and we are kicking it because of TJ, off screen TJ.
hmm,
And so, yeah, I mean, I think Trina is doing too much. I think for lots of reasons, but I don't think Trina's wrong to be mad at Jordan. Even when she finds out about Isaiah, I don't think she's going to be wrong to be mad at Jordan because Isaiah has not been a hanger on of this marriage the way that Jordan has. And I'll
yeah,
also say that with Trina, for me personally, I think that the problem with what they're doing with Trina is that this is all she's doing. So if Trina
hmm,
had like an A story and this her parent meddling stuff was a B story, it would be less pronounced. If she was
yeah,
in class, if she was doing something with art, if she actually had something going on, it would be less annoying. But the fact that all we ever see her do is this is the problem. And,
yeah,
why this is kept is because they've never written Trina to be anything alone since she got into Sabrina.
yeah,
And Double Quietness is kept. Sabrina wasn't a good story. It was never a good story for Trina. It never was. Like, and I get it. I'm not. I get wrapped up in this too. of when I ship something because I like it, because it's chemistry or because of whatever, I take bad writing with it. Listen, I'm a OG Pacey and Joey person. And Pacey and Joey had really good writing together, but everything around it was about Dawson. Throwback for all my, elder millennials. So I get it. I get shipping something that like around it, like when they're together is like a decent story, but like everything else is not. And that was the thing with Sprina, that people were excited about them as a couple, excited about the possibility, but people was like leaning more into fanfic than what we actually saw playing out on screen. And so now when like it's time to demand more for Trina, they've never written more for Trina.
No. I think the show leans a lot on the potential of storyline than on the actual storyline that's playing
Yeah,
out. And so like they're really good at like getting a framework of a storyline up so we can
yeah,
like this old house it like oh my God, I can't like Drew's shooting is that essentially like
right,
all the possibilities we thought of. And then when the story actually plays out, you're kind of like, oh,
right, right,
okay.
right,
And like with Trina, it's almost like they have nothing for her to do. And so they have her leaning into this, like, oh, my parents are getting divorced. I'm upset about it. Cerebrally, I understand why. Like, yeah, it's not great. But also, they have to have her lean this hard into it because they've had her lean so hard into Curtis being her dad.
right.
And so now she has to have like she's acting like is her big 22-year-old self. She can't have a full relationship with both of her parents
Right,
if they divorce, when it's like it's actually easier for you to do this because you're an adult and you get to choose when and where you want to interact with your parents as opposed to them having to work that out through the courts.
right.
So like while I get it's upsetting, it wouldn't like even if your parents have been together for 25 years, it's not like you're going to lose one of them or like oh, I'm not going to have the same type of relationship. It's also they haven't been together for 25 years.
No,
They've been together for two
this man ain't
years.
even been your daddy for how long? 2, 3
Yeah.
years?
Yeah, and because they don't acknowledge Taggart except as like Portia lied to Curtis about
Right.
Trina, about some guy whose name we forgot. That's who he is now. They have to have Trina lean hard into this Ashford family that should honestly still be very new to her.
Yeah,
Like even like and I'm not saying that people can't form relationships really quickly, but
of
like even
course.
her relationship with Hat Daddy, it rings kind of false because not only did you just meet this man a couple years ago, he's been out of Curtis's life for most of that time, like that
Hmm.
preceded it. So it's not even like, oh, this was some fully functioning family that existed before Trina found out. Like all of you shouldn't be as close as you are, to be honest.
Right. It wasn't earned because I think that we
Yeah.
have seen on the flip side other relationships where we're like, okay, this is earned. Because I'll
Dante
say
and
that,
Sunny.
that and I don't even mean Dante and Sunny. I do mean that, but I'm like really clear that like they're not writing good stories like that anymore. But
Yeah.
even like Brooklyn and Geo was more earned than
Hmm.
this. Like I get
Yeah.
it, Curtis like saved her life, but the erasure of Taggart has always been a problem, and that's what I mean. Even when I say like something like Sabrina wasn't a good story, like if you really look at what they did with Trina, it was like they gave Sabrina like moments that people like really still stick with, like oh, they went to New York, or oh, they had the thing that happened on the Haunted Star, and then they had Paris. But if you look at what's happening between then, they essentially like had her playing second fiddle in her own relationship to Esme. And so they were telling
Yeah.
us one thing. They were like, "This is the love of her life. He loves her so much." But we were seeing play out on screen was something different, and they never gave her the writing that like any character would deserve. And so now that she's out of a couple that they had invested in, they're really not giving her that writing. It's really like, what's going on here? We didn't see her like have Kai didn't earn her back for real.
No. He just
Like
learned that
it's
Drew was evil and like just was folded back into Black Hospital. They were like, yeah, I'm glad you learned that.
Yeah, you up at family functions. Ain't nobody even joked with you. Because the other thing
Mm-mm.
is like we gonna joke with you. Oh, you here? Let's be quiet around Kai. You about to get
Mm-hmm.
hazed when you come back around. And they didn't do that. So for me, it just like I said, if Trina circling all the way back, if Trina had like an A story where she was doing something that did not involve her parents, and then her B story was the parent stuff, it would be better. But because it's not, ends up seeming like whiny, even though I agree with her. Jordan, what are you doing? What's happening
Yeah,
here?
I'm the best part about Trina for me is her hatred of Jordan, and I hope that it does not end. I know the show will immediately have Portia become the bad guy for
Right.
physically cheating and like, oh my God, you're in the who's the daddy storyline again, and I don't like it. Okay,
Hmm.
well, y'all can deal
Yeah.
with it. I think it's crazy that they dropped the fact that Kai and Trina were in the house and it's never come up. The PCBD have absolutely no idea. I thought for a
Right.
second when Drew was saying he was having a memory was
Yeah.
him remembering Kai and
Right.
Trina because Trina was very adamant that she wanted to call the police. She wanted to get Drew some help. And Kai was like, "No, we gotta go. We are too black to be in this house with a shot up white congressman." And so like he immediately remembered he was black. And so like I thought that's where that was going. And now like Black Hospital's in it even more because like they got Curtis in jail, you got Drew remembering Kai and Trina in the house, and then he's like, I actually can't remember, never mind. Like what?
it's it's also that like we are not treating this with the severity of attempted murder. Drew
Yeah.
actually thinks that Curtis tried to do this.
He's acting like
So
someone's keyed his car.
right. But Drew thinks it's Curtis because to your point, Trina and Kai were in the house and they took that evidence against Portia. That's why
Mm-hmm.
Drew was like, oh yeah, it was Curtis, but I want Michael to go down for it. So them not being there or not saying anything about being there or whatever really does like lend itself to I don't know. It lends itself to being like weird. And so now here we are skipping ahead because I do want to go back into like the whole Willow, her testimony and things. But now they're looking at all these like ring cams and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you looking at Willow, but aren't you also going to see Michael? Aren't you also going to see Trina? Aren't you also going to see Kai? Aren't you also going to see like a stack of people? Because when they came back and they were like, oh, we have this evidence, we have this whatever, I thought they were going to see Michael.
Same. But then,
So
but he did say that Tracey and Michael's phones ping. But
you
as you were
know, five out
saying,
5 miles. How big
yeah,
is Fort Chime?
Portia,
At the whole thing 5 miles?
I know, I imagine it like the Pleasantville town where if you go down Main
Right.
Street, it just takes you in a circle.
Right.
But yeah, shouldn't Trina and Kai's cell phones have pinged over there? Like we all have cell phones, like we tend to use them as flashlights also. So they're always with
Hmm.
us. Like Apple really ate with that panopticon, add a fucking flashlight to your phone so you always have it on you, always know where you are. Like it's just very inconvenient at this point. And it just lends to this idea of like the show thinking it's giving people what they want. Like, oh, you like this storyline, we're gonna like drag it out, we're gonna do it. Like, no, that's not what we like.
Hmm.
We like the potential of what could have happened, which is why I'm always like one of the my favorite storyline of all time, and I think people's storylines, like their favorite, the one that they gravitate to, is like based off of when you were watching it
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like where your generation. So for me, I'm a millennial. It's always going to be the Metro Court hostage situation. It's just
yeah,
like gold tier storyline.
yeah.
And one of the things that made it really special is that you actually see the end of the storyline before it actually
Right.
begins.
You see
It
our girl
starts,
Sam propelling out
yeah.
that building. Yeah.
Yep, jumping out the window. Nicholas runs out with a shot Robin. Metro Court blows up. And
Right.
now the question is, how did we get here? And so one of the reasons that I think it worked is because Bob Guza and co locked themselves into some type of an ending.
Right.
Like we didn't know how we were going to get there, but we knew that the Metro Court was blowing up that Sam was somehow getting out the building dressed like one of the fucking hostage takers, and that
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas was running out, Robin shot.
Right.
And so they don't lock themselves into things anymore. Like, I at this point, I wish you would just tell us who shot him and then get to it or whatever.
Right.
Like, have like let us know certain things. But
Yep. I
the
agree.
misdirects late in the game like this, where you're trying to recontextualize everything we already understand about a storyline that's been going on for too long already. No, no
It's
one needs
also
it.
we also needed like a bunch of different people who we could all for real suspect, right? Because
Hmm.
right now it is open. It could be anybody. So we should have seen a bunch of different people like headed towards Drew. We should have heard the gunshot and we should have seen a bunch of people scurrying away. So we would have known, like, okay, somebody shot him, but all these people were in the area. And to me, that would have
Hmm.
made it a little bit more interesting.
They also changed the story
Yeah, they
because
clearly did.
the
Yeah,
main reason that Sonny Corinthos is not on the suspect list is because Anna insisted that this was not a professional hit.
right.
And that took him out of the running because, like, unless he's personally killing you, and even then, he tends to be kind of professional with it. See Jagger, he'll get a weather report. But
He
like,
lighted up that
unless
shot with the thunder and lightning.
exactly, so unless he's like crashing out AJ Quartermain status, he's going to do professional hits. And Anna insisted that this was a crime of passion. Now, to make
Hmm.
this Curtis Ashford thing fit, because they don't want to have Curtis actually physically go to the house and do it, now he hired Selena Wu, which now once again makes it a professional hit. And it's like, so who is wrong? Did the writers just forget, or have you decided to make Anna a complete idiot who was busy being yellow wallpapered that whole time? So we can't trust anything she had to say. Because they were everybody had every male character she talked to be like, "Are you sure you're not going crazy, girl? Are you sure?" And so, like, to make Curtis fit, to make this square Curtis like misdirect fit into the round who shot Drew hole, now we
Hmm.
have to change entire storylines, and it's fucking annoying.
It is. It is. It's also gone on too long, and Drew is insufferable in a way that's not entertaining. So, like, and I want to put a pin in Sidwell, but I want to mention him because Sidwell is like so over the top that it still entertains me.
Hmm.
Whereas to Drew, it actually makes my skin crawl the way he talks to women. Like he's so slimy. And it's almost like, especially for this story to be going on for so long, what was the purpose of even shooting him? His personality hasn't changed.
It got worse.
And now it got worse. And now we just like are in a perpetual cycle of like who shot him. Literally in the like notes that I put for the show, it's who shot Drew every single week. And we're not any closer to figuring out who it was.
I think the main difference between Sidwell and Drew and Willow, 'cause I'll throw her on there, is that he understands that he ain't shit. He's very
Right.
well aware of his ancient behavior. He knows that he's doing bad things. He does not give a fuck. Where Drew and Willow really feel like there's a righteous indignation with them,
Yeah. Right.
where
Yeah.
they feel like they are on the side of right, even though they are leaving a wake of destruction in their path. They're like, all of that was necessary or caused
Hmm.
by the person complaining themselves. Like it is this, like, there's nothing to hold on to with Drew specifically. And
Yeah.
Willow, because like I said, same issue. Like they take no responsibility for the reasons in which they're in the situations that they're in. They
Hmm.
act like they have no idea why anyone's with them. Like
Yeah. How
absolutely
could you dare be
none.
mad at me? I'm so amazing.
Willow's insistence that all she did was fall in love and that's why everyone's mad. That is such a simplification of what took place. And Drew says the same thing, like all we did was fall in love. Okay, well, she was married to your nephew.
Yep.
And so it's not as simple as just falling in love. Like, this is not a Romeo and Juliet situation. We're not all the fucking Capulets and Montagues hating for no reason. Like, this is bad, you know. And one of the things I'll say about Curtis, they it does kind of annoy me because the one person Drew does actually have a reason to be mad at is Curtis.
Yeah.
He did not need to do any of that. And the
Nope.
show's insistence that Drew not giving him a job he didn't deserve in the first place is on par to him sleeping with Michael's wife is actually crazy. And
Right.
so when I see him in this, like all the stuff you did to me, until he started going after Aunt Stella, he didn't do shit to you, to be honest. You're one of the least people in town that he's like out of the people in town that he has done things to, either willingly or unwillingly. You are way far down on the list because it goes from stealing Michael's wife to stealing Jason's life, right? And so,
Right.
like, who gives a shit that you didn't get to be CEO of Aurora when you didn't deserve it? And you teamed up with Michael. You made that choice to team up with Michael to make him your new white man bestie. And Drew said, game on. Game
I
on.
think that you really, for me, hit the nail on the head because I also agree that it was never it was flimsy. Like the Curtis
Mhm.
and the Drew of it all had always been flimsy. And I think even when we think about friendships, we now see that Nina and Curtis were very flimsy
Mm.
because this thing happens, and here goes Nina running. Oh my God. First, she does what she always does, which is doing, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then when you don't forgive her because what she did was unforgivable, she's like, well, what about da da da? Like she bosses up on you, fake bosses up on you. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it happens. She's like, what? He did this and he was gonna let my daughter go down for it? You're talking about this man who, when you came back from Nixon Falls, wouldn't let people check you rightfully. I
Hmm.
remember when Willow and Michael ran up on Nina in the Savoy. Curtis, so they told them they could not do that there. They were gonna leave, and instead of like just letting these people leave in peace, he started pleading Nina's case. This is this man who's never judged you, who lets you do any and everything to him. Y'all all of a sudden think that Curtis Ashford got it in him to frame Willow?
Hmm.
What are you talking about? And why would he frame Willow? He ain't beefing with Willow. And also, let me also say this whole like, oh, Curtis and Portia have been bad to each other. No. Curtis doing a last ditch effort to tell Willow what you did is very different than somebody trying to get somebody locked up for attempted murder. These are not the same like problems with each other, especially when we consider everything that Nina has done for her degenerate daughter,
Both of them.
both of them. But let's talk about Willow. Let's talk about what she did to Sasha. Not only did she give up who Sasha's baby daddy was, didn't warn her and let her get like attacked on the stand after everything that happened with Sasha and Brando, we had to also act like that was a Sona story. I remember when Sasha had a breakdown on Home and Heart, Nina was crying over a salad like it happened to her. So we're supposed to believe that y'all are so close that she is like a daughter to you that, okay, fine, cool. You did this because maybe Michael, like, you don't understand the danger. You don't understand why Sasha didn't tell and you know it was for this and that. Okay, that's one thing. But the knowing that Willow gaslit her, the knowing that Willow did that to Daisy, and then allowing Sasha to leave town and away from everybody that she knows and loves, because you don't know she's with Robert. So you
Hmm.
allow Sasha to leave town because your daughter was crazy? Sorry, that's worse than Drew telling, or I'm sorry, Curtis telling Willow what you should have been told her.
Yeah.
You was going to apparently you was going to tell her anyway.
She was on her way to tell her. And
So
she
why do you
and
think it would have been
after
different?
yeah, and she thanked Curtis for that because she said Willow wouldn't have believed her.
My God.
It's just one of those things when it comes to Black Hospital and this like conversation about race in regards to the Black characters.
Mm,
I am a
I'm
historian of
ready.
race and ethnicity. I'm always here to have these conversations if people are ready to have this conversation. I just think that they're sometimes wasted on like superficial wants. Like, I would like to see this story versus like actual issues where if you think about them in a real concrete way, this is actually quite problematic. The
Yeah,
ways in which Black Hospital, and I'm talking about Trina, I'm talking about Curtis and Portia, the
yeah.
ways in which the white characters sometimes will just completely throw their friendships away with them for whatever reason. Not a care thought in the world, right?
Hmm.
Because like it was just so easy. Like one of the reasons why I think a lot of people were able to like be on Curtis's side, even though I maintain that like out of all the things Drew did to people, Curtis is the least affected. There is something when you think about it in the sense that, like, how easy was it for him to betray Curtis to make Michael happy and keep having this emotional affair with Willow?
Hmm.
Right? Like, I will throw away my best friend on the show because that had been established between Drew and
Yeah,
Curtis that they were best friends, that
yeah.
he was willing to betray and toss aside his bestie for Michael and Willow, essentially. That is problematic. And I can see Curtis being like, I'm crashing out. Fuck it. Right? The fact that Nina so easily gave up Portia to Alexis. And not only just something that Portia did, something that they did together,
Together. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so like and it was so easy and like Portia is supposed to understand that like well she did it for her daughter and that's why like my daughter who hates me who will tell anyone who will listen what a raggedy bitch I am who I didn't meet until she was like 27 and she
Hmm.
already had like a tumultuous relationship with me. I was willing to throw you away for her and you just have to understand that,
And I will
right?
do it any and every time. And it'll be
Yeah.
something that we came in together for. Absolutely.
Mhm.
But I think that it's even more than that. I agree with everything you said. And I think it's also the way the show just does not care about these characters. You said it before. Jordan don't got a maiden name. Who was
Mm-mm.
she before the show? Kai hopped up out of Cabbage Patch. Why he ain't got a family? Bro had a whole back surgery. And like his mama didn't show up, didn't call, didn't FaceTime. We didn't even like try to establish any family connections. That is
Mhm.
a lack of care in not only Kai, but in the relationship between Trina and Kai. We know that part of the problem between Jex, who obviously had way more fans than Trina and Kai did, is that we didn't people didn't know who Dex was. You wrote Dex to be
Mhm.
a stranger. He had nobody. The only person he had was Jocelyn. And so you have Kai doing the exact same thing because you do not care about this character.
Yeah.
Portia has been written to be nothing but a lion slut. Now, I love Portia all day, every day,
Mm,
but if you go see what people say about Portia, how people talk about her, all they talk about is Curtis's talking points about everything that's wrong with Portia. This
mhm.
right now is the first time Portia has been even given like agency or something away from her daughter. This is the problem that I've talked about this before. How are we at a place where Portia was literally supposedly at the Quartermains once a week, twice a week, talking to Monica? We don't find this out. Like we don't allow Portia to be humanized in this moment and have a relationship with off-screen Monica Quartermain, who we know would have helped cement her more to the show. We don't have her running into the other Quartermains as she's going in and out of the Q mansion. Nothing. Like these are the things that like remove being able to submit someone to the show. That if every last one of the Ashfords left tomorrow, who would care?
Yeah, it
Because
wouldn't affect
who is the
much.
yeah, and like who is rooting for them?
And
So
that's the and that's the thing with Trina. It's like I think Trina still has a really big fandom and
mhm,
people still root for her, but like presence versus like story are two different things. So like there's only so much you can do to just like see someone's presence on the show. If you don't like what you're seeing, that affects people. And like one of the
yeah,
things that I think like in them trying to sort of course correct Kai because they had him be so pro Drew, right? Like he's a good man and he's doing things for me, blah blah blah. Now they've had him be like the moral compass for Trina, which I think is a mistake. Where like
mm,
he has to like talk her off the ledge. He seems to know more about her parents than she does. He's like, "Do you think your parents would do this?" And it's like, why does he have to say that? Like,
mhm,
shouldn't it be reversed where he's all like, do you think your parents could have done this because of X, Y, and Z? And all that I've learned about them, I know that they were blackmailing this man. And since I have limited experience with them and information, wouldn't he be the one who's more suspicious? But no, it's her. And he's here to be like, no, these are good people, and you should know better than to think that. Why? Why
right.
can't Stella and Hat Daddy like they have these opposing opinions, but like why can't Hat Daddy have a real opinion that like reflects how an older black man would react to his son breaking up his family when his wife is pregnant? Because
Right.
it's not gonna be Scoobity Bop, yeah, son, I support you. It's not gonna be that.
Scoobity Bop is crazy.
That's how they write him. Like he's in the Winston Marsalis band. He's a musician. He's got musician sensibilities, and so he doesn't care about this family unit or whatever. He's freaking scat and like supporting his son. Why write him like this? Like
Scoobity Bop is so crazy.
especially when they had him with this like he had his little I wayward father storyline, and then we find out that it was FBI shenanigans. They made him think he was schizophrenic. He's not schizophrenic, so he's not actually like a deadbeat. But now they're still giving him deadbeat talking points where he's just like, and I don't think that Portia and Curtis should stay together. What I'm saying is that older
No.
black people are gonna be team family.
Yeah,
They're gonna be like, you can work it out.
absolutely.
Go see the pastor. Like, we're stronger
Absolutely.
than this. They're
But
gonna
it
read Bible
also
verses at you.
it is also like what continues to happen with so many of these stories when like parents have like these falling out with their kids that they don't parent them. Like they don't give them parental advice. They like just follow along with whatever their kid says because they don't want to lose them. So we see with the Tat Daddy, we see this with Nina, we see this with like over and over again, and it just kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. But do
Yeah.
want to talk about I want to say one thing about another thing about Jordan, which is when she went down there and saw that Trina was with Curtis, she should have left. It shouldn't have even been if you like, bye girl. Hey, what are we doing?
It's this
You know who played their mistress role correctly? Isaiah.
right.
Isaiah
The
was waiting in the
weird
wings.
Curtis and Jordan thinking that they're just gonna get back together and the Asher family's gonna be like, yeah, we're doing Jordis again. No. What the hell? I really don't want to see Trina say anything about Isaiah. I want him to just be Isaiah is like the North Star of Black Hospital. He's just like, you know what? He's not getting mad. He's like, obviously, he found out. about that baby in the worst way, but he's like supportive. He's gonna take care of you. You know, Curtis and Trina came in all super hot. Like, you come home and we'll take care of you. And
And
he
he's
was just
also
like,
fine as hell. Don't forget that.
that part. But like Curtis and Trina came in all like, come home, and he's in the background like, yeah, just do that. Just do
Playing his
that.
mistress role correctly. He was
Mm-hmm.
like, found out, he was like, were you gonna tell me? She was like, yeah. He was like, okay, I believe you. I'm talking about playing the mistress role correctly. Curtis shows up. Where's Portia? He
I
said,
need him to be like John Travolta and Look Who's Talking. It's not his baby, but we're still together. Fuck you,
yes,
Curtis.
yes, absolutely. Because Jordan thinks she's gonna be raising a baby with Curtis. When anytime Portia is like, "This is my baby, it's not gonna be yours," she's like, "Well, Curtis is gonna decide." It's never like, "Portia, I'm not trying to take your baby." Portia, that's not what I'm trying to do. It's like, "Well, Curtis is gonna decide." Okay, girl, you out here all up in Portia's uterus while your boss is doing all kind of evil shenanigans all over town that you said you couldn't
Yeah,
find anything out about.
murdered
Yeah,
several people.
got his hands in Spy Hospital, Mob Hospital, Rocco's Hospital, every single hospital that he could be in, he's there. But Jordan can't find it because he ain't in Portia Uterus Hospital.
He's murdered a
Okay.
judge. He's murdered a professor. He's like blackmailing Laura. He's blackmailing Sunny. He's blackmailing Britt.
You know what I forgot? Because he's been so out of pocket. I forgot he was the reason that Maxie was in a coma.
Maxie's in a
Forgot.
coma because of him. But she
But,
can't find nothing.
can't find nothing because the books was good. Okay, girl. Anyway,
Sunny's books are good too.
except for that one mistake that homophobic Maria Santos found. It was an accountant error. I hope somebody fired that accountant.
Right?
But anyway, let's talk about the Willow of it all because I really was tickled when she was like insistent about speaking, like testifying for herself. And we have Alexis's assistant, who is like a GH super fan actually, so she's been in other roles before. But she was like, "I'll be the in-person jury," and then she was like, "Girl, absolutely not guilty."
Guilty. Guilty of
Willow,
sin.
Willow, Nina, and Drew are so indignant about the system. Like, here go Nina with attitude and her like snake like, and they have to find out that she's innocent. Like, girl, what are you talking about? What are we doing here,
In their
Nina?
Slytherin era.
And her hair looks good though, by the way.
Yeah.
Nina's hair, her and her daughter with these twin fuck ass bobs. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm. The
I'm a fan.
Roberts.
The Roberts, the Roberts that they're rolling with, but she like was just and they have to find her this way. They have to find it. What are you talking about? If they had to find things in whatever way you think they have to find them, then you wouldn't even be on trial.
That part.
So it looked like things were about to be dropped. And then AI Nathan, the only police officer in town, sees that something's mislabeled and finds the craziest pictures and videos of her driving around crying in the rain.
Just crying with rain. So she got water coming out her eyes. She got water on her windshield. I'm surprised several people weren't taken out that night. And she just keep lying. Like, and that's the thing when it comes to it. So like she gave that testimony and she was just so defensive and so just, "Ugh, why you asking me that?" Suzanne, little super fan, is like, "Nah, girl, this ain't it. Sorry." Alexa's like, "Bet." Drew is still like, during that part, did you notice that Drew was kind of side-eyeing her?
Yeah. Every
He
time
thought
she said something, and then he was like, "We get it, Alexis. No, they are practicing for a trial. You can't do that in trial. This is light. This is
Alexis is
light work.
playing horny DA, by the way. This is
Yes.
not what Alexis is gonna ask. This is what horny DA is gonna ask if we put her ass on the stand. And so he's starting to side eye her because her answers are sus. And then we have the very, like, I'm very conscious of how the reveals are happening now.
Hmm.
They reveal at the wedding that Willow does not love Drew.
Right.
She doesn't want to be with him. And so every interaction she's having with him is a lie,
Yes.
which illustrates that Willow is a liar who
Yes.
lies. And so my question now is like, if it is Willow, which I hope it is it something that she's very conscious of, or is this another lie? Because that's going to affect the sentence that she should have.
Mm,
And it's seeming like she knows she did it and she's just lying to everybody. But the best way to not have her in prison for the next like 10 years, because that's attempted murder, is for her to be like unconsciously like doing it. Now, if they go the unconscious route where, she was in a fugue state or she's DID, I'll go with it. But I will like vehemently point out that y'all have had her acknowledge her lies this entire storyline because when Alexis is asking her why she didn't tell her that and Drew comes in, she's like, I just drove past your house. That's all I did. And it's like,
hmm.
so you're acknowledging that you lied to the police.
Yep.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so I'm going to
Girl,
be annoyed if she's like, I just thought I drove past the house. I must have gone into a fugue state and then went in the house and shot his ass in the back for the gun that I stole from the
twice.
Q mansion. But that's what I'm saying. We've had too many of her, like, she would have to have consciously, we've seen her break into the Q mansion. We know she can get in. We know that Chase willingly lets her in. But like if to go that route of like, oh, she didn't mean to do it, or she's so damaged, or all that, like all of this is too pre-planned
Right.
for you to be
Yeah.
like, I snapped. Like that's not the definition of snapping.
No. I mean, I don't know. I think that something's going to happen in the trial, and they're going to have to throw it out. I think that's what's going to happen, as opposed to like she's going to even go to Cliff or anything like that. Um, I will say, so let's talk about her getting into the Q mansion. So after she thinks she's going to get the charges dropped, she shows up. Chase lets her in, which Michael get a restraining order against her in his house. Chase lets her
Tracey.
in. Oh, right, right. So Chase lets her in, and then she's like, "Well, just let me see the kids, even from afar." And he's about to fold.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, Brooklyn comes in, and I loved Brooklyn's energy. Oh, so you came over here to tell my husband thank you. Oh, you came over here because my husband has been risking his job for you, because my husband has been a good
Mm-hmm.
friend for you. Oh, no, you're asking him to do things because, like, that are not putting him in my husband. I appreciated that because, girl, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Brooklyn has been more than patient. She has been more than generous with her husband and his time. And now you coming over here, you're doing the absolute most.
Yeah,
I need
she's so out of
Michael to
pocket.
out of pocket. I need Michael to tell Brooklyn about the Daisy thing because Brooklyn doesn't know.
It is this very annoying thing that they've been having Chase do.
Mm.
And I want to make
Which
it
thing?
very clear that it is Chase. It is
Mhm.
not Michael, nor is it Willow.
Mm.
Chase has decided to insert himself into this based off of his own fucked up relationship with Willow.
Yeah.
At no point did Willow go up to him and say, please help prove my innocence. He took it upon himself after the PCPD said, we think it's Willow. We found this gun at Elizabeth's house, in her room, in her possession. We're arresting her. we're charging her with this crime. He decided, no, it must be Michael. She did not ask for it. Michael did not ask for this. And so he has taken upon himself to put his job and his marriage and his relationship with his wife's family on the line for a woman who is not asking him to do that.
Mm,
And the reason why Willow feels comfortable asking Chase to let her see her kids is because he established that he would do these things for her.
right.
She is not taking advantage of him. She is actually utilizing the relationship that he created with her because he has no fucking boundaries when it comes
Yikes.
to Willow, and it's disrespectful to everyone else involved, mainly his wife.
Mm. Well, that's a read. I agree. On the book, I still think she's taking advantage of him, but I agree with everything else you said. I think the other part that like has really been frustrating to me is like the ways in which he has betrayed Michael over and over again when it comes to kids that are not his. Every time
Yeah,
he's like telling Willow how the kids are, he's doing this, he's bringing pictures. These are not your children to do this with. Michael is
that
the
part.
primary parent. Michael has custody. Michael has placement. It is not your job. And if Michael puts hands on him because you continue to put my children in the line of somebody that the court who you have established that you care about, you the person who care about the law, not Michael. This is your job. So the courts have established that she can't have contact with them, and you consistently allow her to have some sort of contact with them to the point where she came into the house. If it wasn't for Brooklyn, you would have let her see them kids. And then when Michael says, all right, I need you to sign a statement that says she was here, you try to blame him or accuse him of keeping her away from her children.
And
No,
also,
you
she
were
sees,
here. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, so she sees the kids. So what's next? Because these are young children, and young children don't easily lie. And
Right,
so what happens when Wiley tells Michael that he saw Willow?
right.
What happens then? Are you going to instruct these children to lie? It's
Because
just like
she was
all of it's
saying,
bad.
I don't have to, they don't have to see me as a way after. Because she was going to let them see, she was going to do everything. The compromise was they don't have to see me, to your point. So that she offered that. It's a mess. And when Michael
Yeah.
ran up on him, I said, Brooklyn, get your man. This is a mess. He had no right, no business. And it is I don't know if you read the interview that Katie did where she was like every time her and Josh like get a scene together, they're like, oh, chillo. I was like, ooh, this is nasty, actually.
It's
That's
what's really
really
interesting.
nasty.
What's interesting, and I think the reason, like going back to what I was saying about like how Chase has created this relationship with Willow, it's also the reason why I made fun of it because it's funny, but like I wasn't mad at Britt for like asking Jason to co-sign a loan on a car because like
Ah,
he has created this relationship with her. And so like she's not actually taking advantage of him at all because he's constantly in her face like please take advantage of me. Um that is kind of the thing that Chase has set up. And not only that, he wants Brooklyn to be okay with it to the point where it's giving sister wife. Like, this is your sister wife, Willow. You got to be here for her. I thought we supported her. I thought we were both under the assumption that Michael's guilty, yada, yada, yada. And it's like,
mm-hmm,
this is not a cute thing because of the relationship they had before. Like, they were in a romantic relationship. He was willing to crash out. Once upon a time, he was saying that she was the only thing keeping him alive. And so,
mm-hmm.
one, that's uncomfortable. And Brooklyn was around for that. It's not even like, oh, this predates him knowing her. Like, no, she was in town for that. And then two, like, oh my God, I just lost it. I had a really good point. Oh, I'm trying. No, I lost it again. Crap.
Okay.
It's just if it'll come back. It'll come back.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Chase is the worst. Chase is just
Hmm.
really, really bad with all of this. Like,
Hmm.
I don't understand. This is not a cute relationship. It's not a friendship based thing. Oh, I got it back. I got it back.
Tell us.
I am actually sick of him bringing up the fact that, like, and other people, no offense, y'all can do what you want. I love y'all. You're allowed to have your opinions. But when you're arguing with me about this, I really don't want to hear that Michael did the same shit to Chase.
Oh, I
You
definitely
were
don't want to hear
in
that.
relationship with him after that. Y'all shared a roof together. Y'all both lived under the same like roof. He went to your fucking wedding. You went to his, I think. I'm not sure. You were over this. You were done being mad about the Milo of it all. And you were equally as upset with Willow as you were with Michael. It wasn't this one-sided thing where you felt that Michael had somehow manipulated her. You understood the situation that they had fallen in love with each other based off of things that Chase had done. That Chase had lied, said he slept with Sasha, put them in that situation. They fell for each other. Shenanigans happened with Peter August. He gets sick. Willow marries him, yada, 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 right? We all know what happened. And then they moved on and they were in
Yeah.
relationship with each other. It wasn't the same as when it was like Misha and Chillo. And no
Sure.
one's arguing that it was. But it wasn't something like it was being brought up all the time. They couldn't be in the same room with each other. It was none of that. And so now this has just become an excuse for Chase to be upset with Michael. So
Yeah.
when Michael rightfully brings up, like, you are supposed to be my family, I have divorced her. She is not in this family anymore. Like,
Right.
me and Brooklyn are family. You and her are married. So we are family. So when do you actually take what me and my kids need into consideration? He's like, well, you stole Willow from me. So why are you mad at Drew? You're mad at Drew, Chase. You hate Drew.
And you
And so
blame him
none
for
of
every
this,
decision that Willow makes.
and so none of that makes any sense. And it
I
just
mean,
makes him
it's
wrong on multiple fronts.
I also never, I mean, I got it when people like throw the like chase thing in Willow's face when it comes to Drew, and I kind of laugh about it. But I've said multiple times, even on this show, that I don't agree with that. That what were Michael and Willow supposed to do in the chase situation? The reason that it was kind of like a catch-22 is like, do you tell this dying man that you don't want to be with him? Like that, like they thought he was dying. That is why she did it, to give him his last little send off. So do you go into the room when he's dying and be like, nah, bro, I'm actually in love with Michael? And then it snowballed. So even like I want somebody to tell me what Willow and Michael were supposed to do. And I am not a Milo fan. I've never been anything like a Milo fan. Never, not once. I was Misha in every iteration of Misha. I never liked Willow. I never found them to be interesting. I never wanted them together. None of that. But I definitely and I actually liked Chase at that point. But I never understood what they were supposed to do when the story was. Like I thought it was set up to be one of those things where it was like, damn, this is like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But at the time, the popular backlash online was against Milo. This is not the same thing. Michael and Willow were married with children,
And they're
gone through
fine.
multiple like life altering events, cancer and this and that. And Willow ended up getting with his uncle and unapologetically doing it. When she got found out, she blaming him for not telling her earlier that she knew that she cheated. Willow and Drew have always been unapologetic cheaters. When everything happened between Chillo and Milo, they were like, "We're so sorry. You know we love you. We didn't mean to do this to you. What were we supposed to do?" When it happened with Drew and Willow, their first instinct was to lie, to cover up, to bribe, to steal. to disparage
And then pointing fingers. What about
and
what
then to
y'all
point
do?
fingers. So I don't subscribe to the end of or like what happened between Michael and Willow being the same thing than what happened between Drew and Willow. It just not to me.
Oh. And so the
So
framing of all of this, like they just worked overtime to have all these, and I think that with certain people, it makes sense. Like for Sunny and for Mob Hospital to look at Michael and be like, damn, he's changed. And
sure.
like I wish they got it more, but like, I get them being like he used to be one way and he's this way. But like outside, like people being like I don't understand why he'd be upset that his wife is doing all these things. I don't know why you would not let her see these children even though we have these reasons of why she shouldn't see them. Like, oh, or this idea, and this is the worst part about it. Liz likes to give this idea because Liz is on the outside of every storyline except for I might.
Oh God.
But her essentially saying that the best way to cure Willow of her bad choices itis is to let her see these kids. No, children do not exist to heal parents. That's not
Right.
how things work. And them acting like, well, the one thing that's wrong with Willow can be solved if she gets her kids back. She needs to be happy and whole and healed before she sees some kids, actually. And
Yeah.
everyone framing this like Michael's some terrible person, and then having him like, oh, well, he's banging sex workers in Nina's office. That's why he shouldn't have kids. Like, but what is Willow is literally accused of murder. She married a man she does not love. She gaslit a woman and her baby out of the country. She's done child abuse on her own children several times, or at least condoned it, all in the name of loving them. These are not equal hunt like trespasses against these kids.
Right.
And like Rory does a really good job of portraying Michael as someone who, like, even if you don't agree with some of his choices, it's clear that he's putting his kids first.
Mm-hmm.
He's not trying to punish Willow. That like
Mm-hmm.
Willow does nothing but prove why she should not be around these kids according to
Over and over.
him.
Yeah. Over and over. And like the Drew thing is like it's not just Drew as the man that you cheated on me with. It's Drew as the manipulator.
Mm-hmm.
It's Drew as the person who like sat with you. I mean, again, everything Alexis ran down because let's not forget that they had her using Michael's healthcare as leverage with Carly them. Like this is a real thing. This is Drew that everybody doesn't even know stopped you from being able to like reconcile with him at least over the kids in Germany. This is the
Mm-hmm.
same man who terrorized your son and tried to emotionally abuse him so that you could not like get shared custody. This is how much ownership he's had over you and wants over you. So when Michael says to you, your behavior has put us in a place where I do not want you around these kids while you're with Drew. And okay, now let's still go through the court and let this figure out. Even if he was being kind of petty, he ain't wrong
Yeah, because Drew, you have proven that Drew can convince you to do
to do
child
anything.
abuse against your children because it will help you in the court case. So how can Michael trust that you're not gonna, like, every time you're around these kids by yourself, you're not gonna sit here and trash talk him the entire time?
Yeah,
Because Michael does not trash talk Willow to these kids.
never.
He like works overtime to sort of police his own language and find a way to make it okay for Wiley.
Hmm.
It's the court, oh, mommy forgot, and like it's the courts, it's not,
Yeah,
and like I don't want mommy to be sad either,
right.
right? He's not out here like fuck that bitch. She
It
loved
was
Drew more than you.
even when he like was gonna tell her about her marrying Drew, he brought Christina over. He actually like he has been a good father. And they tried to frame him going to get like his health care as him abandoning his children. These are the people that we're talking about. They have been terrible. So you can feel how you feel, but for me, the way I feel is that these people have been terrible and they deserve nothing.
Yeah, and so seeing a character like Chase bend over backwards to defend one of them when she is equally as bad as Drew for completely different reasons.
Hmm.
Like at the end of the day, she neglect you chose this man over your kids. And
Over and over again.
until you actually acknowledge that, you can't move forward as a character.
There you go.
And so having like, and I don't know if this is because you never know with these writers. If this is so Chase can have his face cracked and give Chaylin a story where they have to like repair their relationship at the end of this, like that's good for them. It's good meaty stuff for like Josh and Amanda. But if this is just so she has someone in her corner who has a little bit more information than, say, Elizabeth Weber, who's just literally basing shit on vibes, like, oh, I like Willow, and so I'm gonna be your maid of honor this wedding I don't
Right.
agree with. But like, if it's to give her some type of sympathy, like, well, maybe the audience will feel more for Willow if they see her through Chase's eyes. No, no, it's not working. The only people who take Harrison Chase's word as law don't want to see him do this with this character.
Right.
And so it's
Yeah.
not like there's like a handful of people, like Chillo hanger-ons, who also don't want to see this version of Chillo. To be very clear, like this is not what they liked about Chillo. And this is not
No.
the version of Willow that they liked.
No.
And
Chilo
so
was
I
like
feel
the slice of life. We got a
Mhm.
wine guy. I'm a teacher. You're a cop. We come home like that kind of couple.
Yeah, and so I feel very comfortable saying that nobody's enjoying this. Like I cannot imagine a single person who would enjoy this. I'm sure there's some people trying to like make it make sense for themselves because they like the characters involved. And like I play that kind of logic math in my head where I'm like, well,
Sure.
listen, Sonny had to shoot Jagger in a rainstorm, okay? And here's why. But
I
I
also
think
feel
when
that
we
way.
yeah, but like when we dig deep, like you're not endearing anyone to Chase or Willow or Chillo as a couple,
Right.
having them do this. And like at the end of the day, if Chaylin is sacrificed for this storyline, it taints Chillo the same way that Drillo was tainted the way you ended Milo. Because that's why
Hmm.
Drillo is unsustainable. It is the age difference. It is the relationship that Drew and Willow had before they got together. But it's mostly that you ended Milo so terribly
Yep.
without giving Michael like any type of an edit that would make it justified that Willow would do this, right? It really came out
Yep.
of nowhere. Like he was out here just being a good husband and fucking father, and she said, "Let me blow up our marriage."
Yep.
Like having Chase do that to Brooklyn taints Chillo out the gate because
Yep.
Brooklyn has also done nothing to deserve this. And I'm sorry, maybe there's some people who would argue like, well, her BS with Geo is why. Her trying to have a relationship with her son and this man trying to like ruin his life and marriage on his ex-wife ain't the same.
That's wild.
It ain't the
I mean,
same.
I am Brooklyn, like I'm pretty neutral on Brooklyn, but I'm certainly team Brooklyn in all of this. And I've been saying that Chase needs his face cracked, and I hope that it doesn't like take Brooklyn down when it happens because this
Yeah.
is yuck.
It's how you end a ship it impacts how the next ship starts and how people feel about it. And we've
Yep.
seen this in several iterations just in the past few years. The
Yes.
reason why, Milo was able to be this slice of life, boring ass couple for very long is because there were enough people who understood what went down with Michael and Willow and Chase and all that.
Right.
Where the Drillo shit, people were immediately turned off of it. They did not like it. And now this might, if you're only on Twitter, you might feel like, no, I saw people who like this couple. No. If you go on any other social media that is not agenda driven Twitter, Sona was tainted by
Oh
how
yeah.
Carson ended.
Yes.
That like they never set up a story that made Carly or Jason look anywhere near as bad as Nina did, as Sonny did when he chose to leave Carly for Nina. And so like the fact that you didn't have a Carly, based reason for Carson breaking up, and then he goes and gets with this woman who did all that, it just tainted Sona for a majority of the fans who like Mob Hospital. And the people who like Nina are not enough to sustain Sona.
No.
And so, like, that is what I mean when, like, you have to think about, like, even if they want to do Chillo, just because Katie brought up, like, oh, are they doing Chillo again? You better pray they're not. Because if they are, good luck, girl, because you about to be in another ship that people are
Hmm.
dragging to hell.
And like you also, there's no way to do that and have the Quartermain to be okay with that. So
No,
here you
he
go
has to
go
go.
again. You're on the outs with half the show because half of them live in the Q mansion. If you do that to Brooklyn, Dante not even messing with you, and that's your friend.
Hmm.
And his
And
bestie
Boss.
Nathan, and his bestie AI Nathan is back. So you really ain't got nobody. Y'all will be on an island by yourself. You would have what? Maybe Nina?
Yeah, be the
Maybe.
best thing that happened to Nina.
But I think even to your point um about Sona, which y'all everybody who listens to this podcast knows how much I hated Sona, it was also like it's the same aftermath. When Sonny got caught, he tried to like blame Jason's ghost. It was all so distasteful. You were not in a position, and it's the same. Like I think about that also being the reason that Drillo looked so terrible because they were still talking bad about Michael, and Michael was in a burn clinic. So we had all of this like build up of how foul they were to Michael while we knew Michael was trying to like survive and get better. And so then when he came back, Rory walked into all this goodwill because we were ready to see them taken down.
That part.
And that hasn't changed. There's nothing that Rory has done as Michael that makes it any different. I'm like, it ain't enough. Take him
Whack him
down more.
again.
Get him for me. So let's move to a little bit of Spy Hospital. Let's talk about Valentine popping up at Carly's. And the shenanigans that have gone forth with that. I think that my favorite part of it is how little he cares about Jocelyn as a spy. Carly was like, Jocelyn's gonna be home. He was like, okay. Like,
And
as if I couldn't evade her. I cackle every time I see how much people do not care about Jocelyn being a spy.
I just loved that he was so disappointed that she wasn't like happier to see him. He was just like, "Oh my God, I'm your honeypot sensei. I'm trying to help you. I just jumped out of an airplane. You're not even like greeting me." Also, I said this on Port Misery last week, him with the crinkle in paper to get her attention. Crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. Valentine, what are you doing? What are you doing? But also, like, okay, Spy Hospital. I hate that Spy Hospital constantly has me on like semi on Lulu's side with stuff because like what the hell do you mean
Okay.
this man jumped out of an airplane? Like I get the whole, he's smarter than this and like he let Charlotte come back. I just think that if he's pulling DB Cooper stunts and breaking out of international custody, now I don't know what the hell's about to happen. And maybe I'm just biased because I want all these crazy ships now. I'm like, yeah, Nathan, you be on Lulu's side. And Chase, you go do stupid shit with Willow. So Dante and Brooklyn get together. And then we put Valentina and Carly together. And then I get Carson back. It's a whole, I can't even get into how I got back to Carson. Don't even worry about it.
It's
Um,
giving like the gif of the girl doing all the math. Like,
yeah.
Carson.
right?
Okay.
But I get her apprehension, especially because Charlotte is very much like, if Valentine popped out of a bush right now and told me to go on the run with him, I would. And so I'm like, girl, just wait the 6 months for yourself to turn 18 and you can do what you want.
I don't even like Lulu, particularly because it's so funny. I have like one of the things that came pop back up was Julie's Lulu after Michael gets sent to jail. I literally was just watching her like go to Carly right away and like beg for Dante, and I said, "Mm." So I've never like Lulu's never been my girl. I've never been about it. Lulu deserves better kids than this. Her ungrateful ass kids are getting on my nerves. That girl ain't did nothing but try to be your mama. Nothing. And y'all acting like she is just the worst. Like, I get it. Like, we all, parent up, if you will, as like just like you
Mhm.
manage up at work, you parent up, like that's very normal teenage behavior. But the way they treat her is wild. Um, I also just don't think that Valentine's gonna try to take Charlotte. He's in more trouble now than he was when he let her go before.
I just think that, when it comes for Lulu, at least, like, I think the other people I would side eye, like, I would side eye this more about Dante doing this or Nathan, where, like, I get with Lulu, like, the only thing she has in common with Valentine is Charlotte. And
Right.
so it's the first thing that comes to her mind. I just, when it comes to these kids, I just don't understand how they're writing them. I think it's also a concern of, like, they don't. It's funny. I was watching Actor on Actor, and it was Alexander Skarsgård and Stellan Skarsgård. And
Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård, he's 74, and he was saying how most of the screenwriters today are younger and they don't know how to write older people. And so they either write them as like having dementia or Alzheimer's, and like him personally, he doesn't want to play that, right? And so he's got to be more picky. I think that happens with kids too, where like there's writing that teenage years with your parents in the story, because I think when you write teenagers by themselves and they're just like Pretty Little Liars and all that stuff, they tend to write these kids more adult, like they're in adult situations and be dressing adult, doing adult things. But when you have kids and their parents, the kids shouldn't be stepping to their parents in this way. Like when Lulu goes to Charlotte and she's like, I need you to promise me that if your dad asks you to leave, that you won't go with him. And Rocco's immediately like, you can't ask her that. Bitch, do you not have a case? Haven't you got a case? Who the fuck are you talking to like that? Are you insane? Go upstairs. Like, what do you mean I can't
You
say
said,
something?
ain't you hot off bail for trying to jail? Like, what are you
Like,
talking about, Rocco?
but now you got opinions? Like, it's so I feel like they write these like 15 to 17-year-old kids like you would write a 27-year-old talking to their parent, and even more bold because I was still like, I'm 38 and I'm still kind of like have to workshop what I'm going to say to my mom when I have to actually have a real conversation with her. And they're just like
Hmm.
popping off at the fucking hip.
They
I'm
are.
like literally like, Lulu, Dante, y'all gotta fight all of your collective children. Like, only hit the ones that you belong to, but like all of them, Charlotte, Rocco, Danny, Gio, they all need to be fought. Sorry, Jason, you just gonna have to deal with Dante fighting your son. Because like, who is he talking to? Like, what do you mean you gonna lie to the police? You gonna lie on the stand? I don't even need you to lie. I just need you to say that he didn't trash this lab. And you were like, no,
I gotta
fuck
lie.
that. I have to
You
lie.
remember when
And
he?
so
You remember when Jason cussed out Michael?
you ain't call him a little bitch.
Eh.
That was like one of the few times they let them swear on the show.
So, your
It's just
kids are,
crazy. Like when they keep
yeah.
letting Charlotte out on the porch. My mom wouldn't let me out of my room. I wouldn't be allowed out of my room, but I also wouldn't have a door for some reason. So I just have like the physical boundary of my room. So like theoretically I could leave it, but she's like, leave it. Leave it. She just put the wooden spoon at the edge of the door. Cross the spoon if you want. You know what it's for. Like,
Ah, yeah, I don't know. These kids, they're wild. But Carly does bring over, excuse me, a key for Valentine, drops it as she looks disgusted at the man that she's pretending is her man. I said, Carly, babes, you gotta do a little bit better. You do not like this man. You hate this man. It's so obvious. It's so funny to me personally, but is
he
this man
is
not a
so
spy? How do
funny.
he not know?
I don't know. He's too busy doing evil since, he's like, oh my God, Whitey's African warlord has weapons of mass destruction. And you know what that means, Jocelyn? And she's like, yeah, we gotta destroy him. He's like, no, I need all the weapons of mass destruction, actually.
Jocelyn, babes. Okay, here's what I want to say. So I know people have told me in the comments, whatever, that like Eden asked for the story. Eden, you asked for the wrong thing. But people get mad all the time, like acting as if Jocelyn has a good story. This is like when they continue to try to pit Jocelyn and Trina against each other, whatever, whatever.
This is a
Jocelyn's
monkey paw
story,
wish.
Jocelyn's story is not good.
No.
It's not. And like, people were like, it's unbelievable that she'd be competent. That's not the story they're telling. The story that they're telling is that she's an idiot. The story that
Yeah.
they're telling is that she's not a good spy and she got in over her head to try to do something that the WSB doesn't even do. She is not given a hero story. She's given a story where she's going to be the damsel in distress again, that Jason or
Mhm.
somebody else will have to run in and save her. This is not a good story. At
No.
least Trina got to like save whatever during Greenland. Jocelyn is looking like an idiot at every turn, unfortunately, and that's my girl.
And if you like the story, you're allowed to like it, by the way.
I mean, you can.
We're not we're not saying you're incorrect to like it. We're saying we don't like it.
I'm
'Cause
I'm
like
kind of saying you're
her
incorrect a little bit, but yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You know, like what you like. I like trash. I like trash as well. I'm just saying that you also like trash if you like this.
it's like she's here to make sure Lucas is in peak maximum danger, right? Like she's
Just
here
Lucas being
to
the biggest bird you've ever seen in your whole life, because
yeah,
his
between Ava,
boyfriend is now a
yeah.
villain.
Super villain. And like between Ava and Jocelyn, Ava has deniability. Not that
Sure,
much because she can smell blood in the water. She knows that Whitey's African warlord is not on the up and up. She just does not care because he's against Sunny. And so she's like, I'll just let it rock.
but she don't know
But
the level and the extent that Jocelyn knows.
exactly. But Jocelyn got tea. Jocelyn has tea and she's still letting that shit rock. And it's like, well, she's gonna be committing treason. Jason was down. Jason was down to do treason. He said, fuck
Yeah,
it.
immediately.
And so, the mob hospital's down to do treason. We're down to flee the country. We're down to kidnap. All for the family.
Hmm.
The family comes before the law. But, Jocelyn out here, like, worried about her. Like, you are a part
With
of
that
mob
that Jack's
hospital.
DNA.
Yeah. Like, I need her
Yeah,
to squabble up with Mob Hospital at the end of this. I don't think she will, but it's just she's just here. Like
yeah.
even her giving the address to Emma and them. Why? There was a million other things you could have done. You could have literally called anyone and be like, there's a building full of animals that aren't being taken care of. Can you go work that out? And they would have worked it out. It didn't involve any felonies or treason.
Yeah, it was poor thing because she was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna be the good guys." He was like, "No, we are the baddies. Sorry,
Hmm.
babes, you're just a different baddie." And the thing that's so embarrassing is that Charlotte knows this and Jocelyn didn't. That's why
Yeah.
Charlotte had all that smoke for Brennan. She was like, "My daddy is locked up, but you ain't no better than my daddy."
Yeah.
Mm. Well,
It's
Marco full villain. He then told Britt, "Run up and get done up."
they made a decision on that one.
I said, "Wait a second. Oh
They
my
made a
God.
decision. I was like, and now his viability has gone down. Because
Yeah,
like
which
a
makes
few
me
months
sad."
ago, yeah, a few months ago, I was like, yeah, we can rehab like Marco, but Whitey's African warlord, he's got to die at the end of this. Now it's
Right,
looking like Marco predeceases Whitey's African warlord, and that's what causes him to really crash out.
right.
And so I don't know.
I mean, I also because I like him and Lucas. I think they have great chemistry. I actually like that actor that plays Marco. I don't particularly care for Marco, but I like that actor a lot. Um, when you see like the behind the scenes stuff with him, he seems very fun. So I wanted to keep him around, but you wildin'. So I think that either it is what you're saying, where something happens to him and then Sidwell crashes out, or he has this like last minute thing where he realizes that he was so wrong about his dad, and then he like saves a bunch of people who then are indebted to him and he can stay around. But I don't see anything that could happen that's in between.
It's definitely a choice, and I wonder if it's a writing choice because there was like once again, I'm never sure where the writers look to social media. I would imagine it's Twitter because like you could get a lot more information in like a very succinct tweet than
Mm.
like someone's like 14 paragraph Facebook essay. No offense, Facebook. But it's why I'm not on Facebook because I have a 14 paragraph essay in me that if I wasn't limited by the 140 characters of Twitter, like y'all be always getting essays.
Right.
And there was on Twitter specifically, like earlier this year, there was some type of confusion about who White East African Warlord is. And there were people who were like, well, I think that he's better than Sonny for these reasons. And
Silly.
so the show was clearly not telling that story. They made sure to have him be extra chaotic before he hit town and chain people to poker tables and try to kill main characters. But the show was still like, why y'all bringing up old shit anytime you brought it up? And so, like, Twitter is like, that's old shit. And so now the show is like, okay, we're going to have him kill a judge, kill Kane from YNR, blackmail half the cast, and also drag his son into this life because Sonny's shining little thing is that he does not allow his kids to be in the mob,
Right.
no matter
Right.
how much they would like to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so now it seems like Marco is a sacrifice to illustrate that white East African warlord is in fact an ancient person
And
when
worse than Sunny.
we all could have just accepted that back in March. But I could be wrong. I could just be seeing things.
Well, I mean, we have a couple of different things. So one, I mean, again, this thing with Maxie, right? Like that, and then Lucy looking silly with him. And then two, we have this kind of plot that Mob Hospital and Laura are doing against him, that they're basically like, we're gonna make him think he won, and then we're gonna catch him when he's down. I don't know. I appreciated Brooklyn when she found out Sonny was selling them tears. She was like, my uncle Sonny doing that? That
Mm,
sound right.
that sounds
Felicia
sus.
was Felicia was like, huh, I don't know. So I didn't watch. I liked what you said kind of earlier on when we first started recording about what you see with the show is based on like, when you started watching. So I went back and watched a lot of stuff, but it also was really different watching things in real time versus not. So I started watching in '03. I started watching with Carly in the Panic Room. Maybe it was '04. I think it was '03. Anyway, that's when I started watching. So I was like very endeared to like that set of characters, that set of people, that timeline, that story. Um, and I just, for me, I am trying to understand where things are going with a bunch of different characters. Like, I'm trying to understand how they expect us to feel about people. Um, Lucy being one of them. Lucy has been silly over and over again whenever they have her. No, I love me some Lynn. I love anytime she shows up, but I don't understand what they think they were supposed to be saying about Lucy. And as you, as somebody who's watched longer, I'm wondering, has Lucy always been like this?
Um, kind of. She's always been very eccentric, and
Hmm.
she's the gold digger character. So
Hmm.
it's, people kind of side eye her. It's this weird she was definitely a lot more savvy back in the day. Like her
Okay.
this weird blind allegiance to Whitey's African warlord where she's willing to allow him to bring in mystery things into the country, into Port Charles under Deception's name is actually crazy. Like he's
Yeah.
not even laundering and smuggling correctly. Like at least Sonny has Corinthos coffee here
Hey, child.
to smuggle our fucking purses in. But he's just like, I'm just gonna put random chemicals and weapons and put the deception label. So when, the ATF or whoever comes and gets this shit, deception definitely tanks with it. And Lucy's like, yeah, it sounds great. That sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, we gonna
And I
see.
hate this idea that she's just using Brooklyn or Maxie as like Maxie's poor. She's dirt poor, and that's why we must do these things. What? She's gonna be even more poor if this all falls through and like everything that
Where
we
did
know
this
about
all
this
fall through?
man.
Right.
Yeah, and everything we know about this man kind of it suggests that it will. And
Yeah.
he like she's just completely ignorant of this. Just like, no, no way. What are you talking about? This is
I don't know,
great.
Lucy. Well, two other big stories I have. So we have Jason wants to reverse engineer Prince Meds. I'm glad somebody finally said it. Jason said, listen, I went to Google, okay, and I Googled Huntington's, what is it? What does she keep saying? Remission. And Google AI told me that don't exist.
Exactly.
So I hit up my homie, probably Brick, and now we trying to like reverse engineer your meds so that you can get off of under whoever you're under. I I'm a Jay Sammer all day, every day. I can like other Sam ships. I cannot like other Jason ships. That's where I am. I'm just being transparent with y'all. I say that to say, but I didn't hate Jabrid. Like it was just, it was there. I don't have the same like visceral reaction against Jabrid as I do against like Liz and Jason, you know?
No.
That said, this is stupid. And I don't understand like what we're writing. I Brit is not it. I don't understand it. Okay, yeah, that's what I got. I don't understand it. I don't understand why Jason feels so like close to Brit. I don't understand why he won't like she says she don't want to help. Don't save her, she don't want to be saved.
It's I don't get this either. And when we remember that Jason went to the Evil Sandals Resort the
Yes.
same week that Drew was shot, we have been dealing with this Jabrit nonsense as long as the Who Shot Drew storyline, which is
Yes.
why it's so goddamn tedious at this point.
Yes.
Because I think we're all at the point where, like, how do you have this man who is in his 50s begging this woman who does not deserve it to just like allow him to give her aid, right?
Right.
Please let me help you help yourself. Help me help you help me helping you. And it's like, we're all done with that. And then they give this like weird Jabrit kiss, and then she's immediately like, fuck off. We're back at square one. We're right back at square one. And this idea of like, oh, she's doing this to protect him. This is Jason Morgan.
She
He
has no
only
protection.
dies. Yeah, he only dies when the plot calls for it. And it's not called for it. They usually give us a good warning. Steve Burton is not long for this show. Watch out for a potential Jason disappearance. But we're
Right.
not in Jason disappearing territory. We're in
Right.
regular superhero Jason territory. And at this point, he has proven himself. He has proven that he will be down for her and that he, will not ask questions past a certain point, but trust goes both ways. And she's still doing this like half in, half out. She has all these people now kind of rallying around her because, like, we also see her earlier this week with Portia. Portia has
Hmm.
her little pregnancy scare. It turns out she was just dehydrated. Drink more water. She's just constantly not drinking water. And Britt, was able to give her basic freaking OBGYN care, and now everybody's like, give this hoe her medical license back. Never seen doctoring so good in my life. And so, like, you're already building your relationships and your life back in Port Charles, and you're still doubling down on bullshit. And it's not for any real reason. It's just because they want to drag this stupid Jabrit thing out as long as possible.
Right.
Why? The people who want Jabrit want them to be together, so just put them together. And the people who don't
Right.
want Jabrit are done with this fucking story already. And they would rather you just
Hmm.
do what you're gonna do so we can move on than you continuously drag because like dragging out what's happening with Brit does not mean you have to drag out Jabrit.
Yes.
You could do that. You could do that fucking right now. But you
Yep.
choose not to because you think that we care about this. Will they, won't they? No, we've already seen them together. We already
Hmm.
know that he will and that she will. And like these things, we rarely see Jason in scenes with Carly anymore. It's very rare. They're putting Carson together more often, which I'm like, I
I
see
know
it.
that's your
I see
thing.
it. But like, you don't see a lot of like Jason and Carly together. So, and you
No,
don't have her talk about it that much. They also don't show her with her immediate family,
sure
right?
don't.
We don't get scenes with her and Nina. We don't get scenes with her and Lee. So, anytime we get scenes with her and Nathan, it's him telling her to back the fuck off Rocco,
Yep.
as he should. But like Jason is her person, and they constantly have her just be like, bro, fuck off. Who
Hmm.
wants to see it is always my question. Like, who is this for? It's not for the people who like Jabrit. It's not for the people who don't like Jabrit. Like, the people who don't like Jabrit actually don't want to hear her tell him to fuck off. They want the opposite.
Right.
They want
Yep.
him telling her to fuck off. And we're not
It,
going to get that
yeah,
because Jason's not going to do that.
because Jason's not going to do that. Yeah. Like it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how the audience feels about Jason. And I went to the Jackal show. We'll talk about it when we kind of close this out. But people love Jason. That is the long and short of it. And women women have fought over this man for decades now, and nobody wants to see Jason chase behind somebody who they don't even feel who's worthy of him. And
I've
that's from
said
somebody who
this.
doesn't even care.
Yeah, I've said this to you when we just talk in private. For me, Jason Morgan has one of the best story arcs. Like Jason Quartermain Morgan has one of the
Mhm.
best story arcs, not just on this soap, on any soap.
You did say that.
Like watching him go from like the story that he starts out with, where he is the bastard son of Alan Quartermain and fucked up Susan Moore, and then you got
Mhm.
the Monica of it all. She's learning to love him, and then oh, they're trapped. Well, not trapped, but they live in the Quartermain mansion. It's chaos, and then they grow up. They soar him into Steve Burton, and he's like the perfect child, right? Because AJ is a screw up, and he's an
Right.
alcoholic, and then he has this accident and he
Mhm.
loses all of his memories and he becomes Jason Morgan. And it's like this whole new thing. But then even that becomes a whole thing because if you go back to 96 and watch Jason when he first in his accident, he is not the Jason Morgan you see today. He's
Right.
very angry. He's very upset. He's cussing anyone and everyone out. And that goes on for a few years after that. Like Jason had quite a temper until around 2001, until he left that first time, comes back. And then you get more of this sensitive man pain filled Jason. But even
Right.
that you get to see like the evolution and like sometimes you're not on his side. Like, he has this weird crash out where he's like, I don't think I can raise Franco's baby. And everybody's like, damn, Jason, I'm gonna have to throw you away.
That was me.
Then he comes, him and Sam come back together, but then he dies, and then he's gone, and Drew comes in as Drewson, and then he comes back and he has to reclaim his life, and and all the way to like what we saw earlier in the summer where Monica passes away, and now we have to reconcile all the life choices that he's made over the
Right.
past 30 years with the fact that with his realization that his parents did love him and that he was the drama and all of that, not them. Um, it's one of the most fascinating and like beautifully written and acted story arcs in soap history. And so to put that character with this like train wreck bitch of a character
Oh my God.
and not even and just not even try to do anything. They put in with plenty of train wreck bitches of a character. Cause like, listen, I love my girl Samantha McCall. And when they put her across the hall at his apartment, that's what she was for me. I was like, not this pregnant girl with Sunny's baby. He put her across the hall, got his pregnant mistress across the hall as Carly in the apartment. And that is the story where you see what happens when you actually care about both characters in a
Right.
storyline,
Yeah.
where you understand where her train wreckness is something that helps the storyline, not something that hinders it. And I think that is a big issue with Brit is that they write her in such a chaotic way where she is sort of like bouncing from one pole to the next. Like 1 minute she's super helpful, she's super about that life, she's calming Portia down, she's helping Ned, she's doing these things, she's with Rocco and you're with her, and then the next she's drunk in the random hillbilly bar, she's yelling at Lulu unfairly, she's being rude to fucking Jocelyn, she's like blackmailing her, they don't it doesn't lend to the character. You don't know how to feel about her from any given day. It's hard to endear yourself to her. You start to
Right.
understand where Liesel's coming from when she's reading her ass, or Lucas, or whoever. It's just like a fundamental misunderstanding of how to write Brit.
Yes.
And so now they've like sort of in this week they've sort of like been forced to resort to have Jason just beg her to tell him something, and she's still like fuck off. And I'm like, but he just bared his soul to you. And your response is to kiss him and then tell him to fuck off like you're teenagers? Who is
Yeah.
it for?
Because I can't even imagine if you're a fan of Jabrit, this is what you would like to see either. Because this is not actually how the original Jabrit was written. And I'm not saying you have to like completely go back, but the original thing was her opening up to him. Like it was like I didn't like them, but I didn't dislike them. You know what I'm saying? Like it was fine. Like she was growing who she as a person. He was helping her. She confided in him. It was sweet. This is not that. And I mean, if you're a Jabir fan and you like it, all power to you. But I can't imagine how because it's not anything I would want to see. That's what I'll say. That it like that's not what I would want to see for a ship that I like.
Yeah, I just think there's better ways to write her to
Hmm.
still have her be as guarded, but not
Sure.
as defensive, but then also as chaotic. Because it's one thing if she's guarded all the time, right? Like I'm guarded all
Yeah.
the time, and she's just this tough nut that he has to learn how to crack. She's
Right.
like throwing her pussy around at the hillbilly
Oh my
bar
God.
for his attention. right? Because she wants his attention. And then as soon as he gives it to her, she's like, why the fuck are you talking to me? Because you just
Hmm.
did this whole drunk song and dance. You almost killed yourself. You need medicine, apparently. You decided to get blackout drunk, so I had to give it to you.
Hmm.
So now I'm involved. And so it's just
Right.
hard to have it, like, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if she was just doing that on her own, right? But it's like framed as if Jason is here with his friend who's like relaying trauma, and she's in the corner getting drunk and loud to pull focus.
Right.
So you want his attention. You want to know that, like, if you're in trouble, if something's wrong, that he will drop everything and come and rescue you. And he proves that he will time and
Right.
time again. And you're still like, that's not enough. That's actually not enough. It's a terrible
I don't want to
story,
hear her talk about Farley. It's so annoying. It really is. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, I don't like it. It's silly. I don't want to hear it.
right?
And then the last, oh, Anna. Anna is uh maybe at Windermere, I'm guessing, because
She's
that's the
got
only
to
way
be at
old boy can get
Windermere.
back and
Yeah,
forth so quickly.
she's at Windermere. She crossed water, and the water is clearly the water that leads to Spoon Island.
Yeah. And then we see the new butler that also was the guy from Five Poppies now holding
He got her
her.
a
So
yoga mat.
apparently Sidwell is holding her. Oh, yes. And a diary.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna figure it out. We did also hear from Emma that she got some kind of deep fake phone call from her. Um and we saw her writing Nathan and Britt's name over and over. So imagining that that has something to do with it. But we saw her. I was happy to see Anna, but I don't feel like we got any more information aside from the fact that Pascal is a part of holding her.
I'm very interested, and there's a good chance they won't do this at all. But like, I will be gagged if it turns out that Nathan is evil. Because he's playing it so straight right now. He's just like, went back into the fold way easier than Brit, right? He's just like he's never been gone. He's just lead
Hmm.
detective. He's solving cases. He's doing all that. But like, if it turns out that he's like the person that Sidwell works for, that he's the one that's been running all this, because it seems like Anna was the person preventing him from getting on the force.
Hmm.
And as soon as she disappeared, Dante was like, "Yeah, welcome back, bruh. Welcome back." And so he seems to have like easily got into a position of power. And now you got Anna over here crashing out, writing his name a million times. And so
Yeah, I mean, um, well, I guess we can close this and I'll just say, so I went to see the Stone Cold and the Jackal, like kind of variety show. We've been to stuff together. I think we did Crew and we've done Vanna together. And so typically the way those work is like you'll go and then they'll like kind of sit on the stool and give stories of their lives and a little bit about the show. This was very different. This was a variety show. They were like singing. Well, Bradford was singing, Steve was rapping. Um, and it was like very like focused in. It was like very creative ways of doing like holiday stuff around the show. So it was like, we'll do a toast, a holiday toast, and then it would be like to like whatever character for whatever thing. Um, Bradford did like a lot of corny Spinelli jokes because Max is in a coma. He's not getting any. Um, it was yeah, it just wasn't. I mean, it was good. It was fun. I met two black women who at kind of towards the end because it was a very white room, as a lot of these things are, but it was also like a suburb of Milwaukee. I mean, I live in Oakland, born and raised in Milwaukee, and here an awful lot as y'all know. The place that we were at, I was like, wait a second. I had never seen this place and it was so nice. It was a whole shopping center. And I asked my friends and family, I was like, y'all know about this place? And a couple of them was like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, this is
that's
hidden.
wild. They
Very
hit
funny.
it.
It was because it's called Milwaukee Improv, but it's in Brookfield. Um,
Mm.
And then Stephen Bradford stayed in like one of the nicest hotels in downtown Milwaukee. So I was like, oh, y'all had like a little drive to the hotel. But
Mm,
anyway, but one of the things that Bradford kept joking about was not trusting Nathan. And at first it was on some like, we're gonna be fighting over Maxie, but it was very much like he's shady. Now I don't know if that was just a joke or if that was like, for real, him knowing. Um, Other things, so they did like a whole like call and response. They were like, give it up for whatever storyline. So people, a lot of JSAM fans there, they named Jason and Liz one person clapped. I was like, oh, this is my group. But even like Steve and Bradford noted it. They were like, oh, okay. Not a lot of love for Jason and Carly as a couple, lots of love for them as friends.
hmm
Big love, biggest love for Jason and Sunny.
That's the
The
best, most
love
important
story of our
relationship on the
time.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love story of our time. Bradford kept making Jason and Anna jokes. Steve did not like it, and the audience did not like it.
No.
The audience was not pro. They did not like Sidwell, which I was surprised by. Like he's a villain, but like I didn't know. Like I enjoy him, and people were not feeling it. I mean, again, this is like a sample size, but
Yeah.
um, they know everybody hates Jordan Willow, and they drew on that a lot because they did like a 12 days of Christmas. It was like, Christmas, whatever he hated me. And so it was like a bunch. And one of the things was like something, some amount of weeping willows. Um, yeah. But yeah, they would like when they were like looking for like crowd involvement or booze, they would always bring up Drew and Willow, and it was not disappointing for them because people hate Drew and Willow.
I
Um,
bet.
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't a lot of tea from the show. It does see. Steve made fun of Asher, who plays Danny's hair a lot.
Mm,
Lots of love for like Rocco and Danny. People do seem to like that duo and like them, together, which makes sense because I do too. Um,
Same.
yeah, so it was just, like lots of fans. I would, if I went again to something like that, I would definitely go with a friend. Because like there are other, how like things are funnier when you're with your people. And so there were
hmm
things that I was like, okay, y'all kind of losing me. That would have been funnier if I like looked over at you and we would have laughed together versus like looking over at somebody who I just met. Um,
mm
but yeah, I mean it was enjoyable. I got a nice picture with them afterwards.
It was very
Um,
cute.
yeah. And I got one with their stagehand because he was a cutie or like their little roadie. And yeah, the people at the venue were mostly nice. It was cold, and so I had to wait for my Uber. And I mean, I guess people don't really be Ubering out in the suburbs, so I was the only person
Oh,
left.
oh
And they like let me wait it.
no.
They let me wait inside. And they were really nice about it. But anyway, the biggest thing I took away was like the Nathan shade. And again, I don't know if it was like just like jokey shade or for real like don't trust him shade because he said it multiple times.
There has to be something because he just fell back into the show too seamlessly, and
Hmm.
people are not questioning where he's been in the same way that they're questioning where Britt has
Has
been.
been right. Yeah, I'm like, okay, y'all just good with it.
It's because, and I think it's because of how they chose it. And I think that we're hopefully we learn that Nathan learned from Britt's return because she did return a little bit earlier. People found out about her earlier. She did present it as I was fully aware that I've been missing, that I have been alive, and I did not care. And so she got a lot of hostile pushback just based off of that. So people being like, what are you about? What is going on? Who's doing this? They're more inclined to do that. Where Nathan came back and was like, I don't know. I thought it was 2018. I legitimately have no idea what's going on. And everyone's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. Except for Anna. And then they disappeared Anna.
Right.
And everybody's like, well, he doesn't know what happened, but he's back and we're happy to have him. And so
That's
it's a
why I think
waste.
disappearing Anna. and him becoming a
Hmm.
cop again like feel like they converge a lot to me.
Yeah, because what's the point of this? And I like that they're like, hopefully that's what they're doing by having him be the most competent cop on the force. It disarms the audience because
Yeah.
I made a tweet and it was quite, I'm always surprised about which tweets blow up and which don't. But I made a
Hmm.
tweet that was like Nathan went from being dead for 8 years to being lead detective. And I had a lot of responses who were like, well, he's the only competent one on the PCPD. And I'm like, but that is the thing that's lulling you into this false sense of security with him.
Yeah. Right.
That like, oh, well, he's getting shit done, so let him cook. But it's like, should we be letting him cook? Should we?
It doesn't
Especially
feel
when
like it.
yeah, especially when so much of Mob Hospital and Spy Hospital are involved in the storylines that he's currently involved in. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem like you want him to have the ability to, like, say, frame Sonny Corinthos or do all of these things, especially if he's working for Sidwell. And so, not to say I wouldn't want to see it happen, like, because Sonny will be fine. But like it is storylines
You're
we could
right.
go. The mistake would be just to be like, yeah, we don't know what happened to him. We're not gonna take the time to figure it out. He's just back. He's back and he's great and he's Nathan. And he's the most competent cop. He should have been commissioner, to be honest. Sorry,
Right.
Dante.
All right, Dante.
Chase,
Love
go to
you.
the
Mean
unemployment
it.
line.
And you better not act up because you being an unemployed Quartermain spouse is very different than being an unemployed Chase,
Mm-hmm.
Harry. Yeah, I'm not saying it for Chase this week. Hopefully he turns it around, but he's been really getting on my nerve recently.
What? Boo, Chase, boo.
Boo hiss. All right, let's get into next week.
For sure.
Oh, and then the
Wait,
other thing,
before I'm about to say, can we just make fun of Elizabeth having eye mites for a second? Why is the show so poor? Like, why does it have to do these things? Like, why are we taking money from eye drops and like eye mites and stuff like that? And how did Liz get roped into this? And she's just at work rubbing her eyes, taking patients, like, and she's not trying to go home or anything. It's like
every time I
crazy.
think about just having mites in your, oh God, I'm so disgusted.
I hope Becky got a bag for that. I hope because like if I'm Becky Herbst, I'm immediately like, why am I gotta be the one with like over horny eye mites that are just banging in my eyes, making them
Ugh.
itch. And then they're like, we're gonna give you 20K. Okay, sure, right? So I hope that happened for her because why did they even make her do that? And how does Felicia keep ending up in these stories? Because like first she was in the Call of Duty story, and now she's in this I Might story. I imagine they brought it to her first, and she said, absolutely not. You already had me do that ridiculous Call of Duty shit. Someone else got to have horny eye mites in their eyes. I can't do it. I will be there to support them, but I'm not going to do it. And so that was crazy. If y'all didn't know why Elizabeth has itchy eyes with eye mites, it was a bag. GH got a bag. It was an advertising thing. And so, yeah.
It also is one of those things, again, that if Becky was doing other things and this happened to be like a one-off story while she was like also having another story, I think people would have felt differently. But to have like this, ugh, ugh, being her story, ugh, gross. My
So I
God.
said, I
And
hope Becky got a bag.
I get really freaked out by stuff like that. So my eyes have been itching ever since, even though I'm hoping I have. Oh, I don't even want to think about it. It's so disgusting. What I was gonna say is I forgot to mention that horny DA, as Tara calls her, Justine Turner, gave Molly the rundown of how she was gonna take Sunny down, and I said, "Oh, sweetie, better women have tried.
And they're all gone and disgraced. And, Sonny's still here mobbing. So good luck.
Good luck. You will be gone and also disgraced." Because now Sunny always had plot armor, but he got that I'm Laura Collins' bestie plot armor. He ain't going nowhere. So
No,
you know. I'm a better mobster than Sid Will plot armor.
for
My girl.
sure.
All right, Monday. Valentine offers reassurance. Brennan and Jocelyn put their heads together. Well,
Wait,
zero
who?
plus zero is zero.
Britt?
Brennan and Jocelyn. Brennan.
Oh, Brent. Oh, Pikeman. I'm sorry. I
Eichmann
don't
and
ever
Jocelyn.
call him Brennan, so I've always like I'm like, what? Who?
Gotcha. Dante opens up to Nathan. Sunny and Rick meet.
Dante.
Sunny and Rick meet with Justine.
Okay.
Emma seeks advice.
Okay.
Tuesday, Michael has a testy encounter with Drew and Willow. Beat
Stop
him
showing
up.
up to Metro
Beat him
Court.
up.
Stop. Stop going there. You're not welcome.
Nina calls in a favor. Oh, I didn't read these beforehand. Rocco issues an ultimatum to Dante.
I know. I saw that one and I was like, Dante, you got to fight both your sons and maybe Sam's son. I'm not sure.
Charlotte makes a confession. An eavesdropper hits pay dirt. Wednesday, Carly and Nina have a frosty run-in. Push her in the snow, Carly.
For real. Why are they still talking to each other?
Mm. Isaiah makes Portia a tempting offer.
Run away with
Lulu,
me and never talk to Black Hospital again.
go girl, they don't deserve you.
Exactly.
Lulu unleashes her anger. Britt is disappointed. Imagine how we feel.
Right.
Michael defends himself. Thursday, Anna receives a diversion. Brennan confides in Carly. Nathan backs up Lulu. Okay, what are we calling it? Is it Nulu?
We can
What is
call it
the
Nulu.
what Lathan? Luathan?
Mm,
Um, Jason seeks out Jocelyn. Nina is on the hot seat. I love that one day she has a frosty run-in with Carly, and the next day she's on the hot seat. Okay. And Friday, Chase makes a pair of arrests. Valentine and Carly debate. Jason issues a warning. Josh makes a resolution. Isaiah supports Portia. Maybe she lost that baby. You know what I'm hoping for.
I just feel like it's gonna be something dumb. Like I said, it's not dumb to me because, like I said, if it's Curtis's baby, I want him to pull into John Travolta. Maybe he's promising to pull a John Travolta from Look Who's Talking. Like, even if you're having Curtis's baby, I still want to date you. And it's like, okay, I'll go with it. Usually I feel like that's weird, but you know what? I'll go with it. It's very
It's a,
rom-com in the late 90s. Except
I love that.
you're not a homosexual man she's trying to like turn back to our team for some reason.
Oh
Jen
God.
Aniston status.
Oh, God. Terrible. Well, thank y'all, Tara. Thank you for coming last minute, chatting with me. We had a really good conversation. I'm gonna try. If I know how to do this, y'all, I don't know if I know how to do this. I'm gonna just like tag Port Misery so it'll be on both pages. So we'll know. Um, otherwise
We'll
I'll
see.
just we'll link. I don't know. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about Sunday Shift and Port Misery. Make sure that you're listening to
Yes.
both. Get your life with us. Tell us, we talk in the comments, we talk back. Happy holidays. Am I missing anything?
Happy holidays. Like, subscribe, both podcasts. I don't know. Be nice to each other, I guess. Now we're just getting into morality stuff.
All
Like,
right,
have
y'all.
better self opinions.
We'll see you. We'll see you next week.